by the end of this video, you're going to know what it's like to buy a home in Georgia and the process that goes along with it. Let's go. I get questions all the time. What do I do to start? What do I need to do here? What do I need to do there? Well, I'm going to try to make this video kind of simple, just the basics, just stuff that you as a buyer should know going into purchasing a home and what the process is going to look like, what you're going to need to do and what your agent should be doing for you. Now, I will say, if I'm your agent, there's not going to be very much that you're going to have to do other than give me a yes or a no or whatever your opinion is. Now, if you want to be more hands-on and involved, then by all means, I'm more than happy with that. But just want you to know the services I offer, you're not going to have to do much, and it's going to be streamlined and a very smooth process to the closing table. So now, a lot of people are going to tell you, find an agent. That's the first thing you should do. But in my opinion, I think you should take some time and really look at your finances and make sure you're in a position to buy a home. Now, you're going to have some costs that go with buying a home. It doesn't matter if you use a VA loan and don't have a down payment, or if you get closing costs paid for by the seller. It doesn't matter. You're going to have some closing costs. So you need to make sure that you've got some money saved up, that you'll be prepared for that. And then if you can get the seller to pay for those things, great. But if not, you're going to be responsible for it. So you need to make sure you've got that money saved up. So then once you do that and you know you're in a position to buy a home, that is when I would tell you to go and find an agent. Now, I'm sure you've got friends that can refer you to an agent. Like I said, if you're in Middle Georgia looking to buy, we would be more than happy to help you. We would love to help you. So once you have found that agent that you want to work with, they should have some preferred lenders and home inspectors and other people that you may need along the way that they can refer you to. So once they've referred you to the lenders and you give them a call, you can shop them around and see which one's going to give you the best rate or which one has the best program, all that kind of good stuff. But once you do that, you need to pick a lender and stick with them. Once you do that, you're going to fill out an application. So what that's going to do is you're just going to give them some basic information and you're going to get, basically it's called a pre-qualification because you haven't submitted any documents or anything like that, which, side note, pre-approval is always better than a pre-qualification just because you do submit some documents with the pre-approval and it carries a little more weight than a pre-qualification just because the pre-qualification, they don't have any of that information. They're basically just going off of what you say. And sometimes what people say and what actually is are not the same thing. So make sure you're prepared for that. Like I said, pre-approval is what you want because that's going to hold the most weight with a seller. And then once you pick your lender, you get the pre-approval, that's when we can actually start looking at homes. We're going to know what your interest rate would be, what purchase price we need to be at for the home, and then I can set you up on a search in that price range with all the key features that you want in the home, whether you want a privacy fence or a garage or this or that, whatever the case may be. I can put it in my system, and then that way, whenever it sends you the homes, it's going to have what you're looking for in the price range you want to be. Now, we will continue to do this until we can put together a list of homes that you want to look at, or we can look at them one at a time as you find them, whatever you would prefer. It is a lot easier just to set up several in one day, go out, take a look at them, and then boom, you can kind of compare them. You got everything fresh in your mind, and it's kind of easier to make a decision that way versus what you looked at a week ago when you were looking at them one at a time. So now once you've made that list, we're going to get out, we're going to take a look at these homes. You're going to ask all the questions that you want, and you're going to take a look at anything in these homes that you want. Don't be afraid to open doors, look in closets, all that kind of stuff. People know that you're looking at their home, and they don't mind that. They want you to be able to see everything in the home and make sure that it's what you're needing. And then after that, it's basically just waiting until you find the home that you love. And then once you do, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about what I think a good offer would be, and I'll give you my suggestions on what you should offer. And then after that, you can either tell me, hey, we want to go with your suggestion, or we kind of want to do something different, and this is what we want to do. And that's the route we're going to go. I'm simply here to give you my suggestion and make sure that I have your best interests in mind. And if you don't want to do what I'm suggesting, then that is completely fine with me. So just know sometimes it might not be in your best interest. Sometimes it might be a situation that I've seen before, and it might work out this way if you do this, and you wouldn't know that without me telling you. So, all right. So now we found the home that you love. You're ready. We're sitting down. We're talking about an offer. We write it up. They accept it. Congratulations. You got your home. All right. So they've accepted your offer. Now, sometimes they might not accept your offer right off the bat. They might send a counter offer. And if they do that, then it's basically just negotiation back and forth. You can say, hey, I accept the counter offer and whatever changes they made to our original offer. Or you can say, no, I want to counter the counter offer. And you can send something back. And you guys can do that as many times as you need to until you come to an agreement and everybody is good with it. And you may not even come to an agreement. So there's that. And if that happens, then you just move on to the next house. Don't let it get you discouraged. Don't get down. Sometimes it happens. And I always tell my clients, if stuff like that happens, it just wasn't meant to be. There is a reason you didn't get that house. And I bet when you do get your house, you're going to be glad you didn't get that house. So just keep that in mind. I know it can get frustrating and discouraging, but just keep moving. That's all you got to do. You're going to find something better, I promise. So that's it for the counter offer and all that kind of stuff. So now that we're under contract, this is when I can get to work and start doing what I need to do for you. So this is the time that you're going to drop off the earnest money to the attorney's office. Now, earnest money is basically just like a deposit. We're going to say it's a deposit. And you give this to the attorney's office. It's basically a good faith deposit saying, hey, we really want to buy the home. We're not going to back out for no reason. And you do get this money back at the closing table as long as you don't breach the contract. So that means you did what you said you were going to do in the contract, and you didn't back out for any reason. You will have a due diligence period, which is a time that you can get inspections done and you can back out for any reason. I mean, literally, you can go to the house, stub your toe on a stair and say, oh, I hate this house now, and back out, and you still get your money. But outside that due diligence period, it's not like that. You have to have a specific reason to get your earnest money back after that. And there's really only a couple reasons, and that's the appraisal and any kind of repairs that are required that you can't come to an agreement on. So outside of that, you're going to lose your earnest money if you back out outside your due diligence. So make sure you're good with it during your due diligence. So then after you do that, I'm going to go ahead and set up the home inspection for you. I'll send you a couple of home inspectors that I work with on a daily basis. You can pick one of those, or if you have a home inspector that you know that you want to use, by all means, go ahead. You're free to use whoever you want to, as far as lenders, home inspectors, really anybody, closing attorneys. It's all up to you as the buyer. We just have some recommendations that we can make that we know are good people to work with and have done us right in the past. So that's all. So once you turn in the earnest money, I set up the inspection. They're going to do the inspection, and then they're going to send us a report. And when we get that report back, we're going to sit down and go over it line by line. Now, let me say this. You're going to have an opportunity to ask for repairs here. Now, cosmetic repairs are things that I don't typically recommend that you ask for, because most of the time those are things that you see when you're walking through the home, so you know about them before you put an offer in. So I'm looking for major things that are going to cause you a lot of problems or cost you a lot of money down the road, such as HVAC, water heaters, any kind of plumbing issues or anything like that. So roofing, that's a big one. Obviously, you want to make sure the roof is good. But I mean, like a little drop of paint on a light switch, that's something that you could probably take care of pretty easily after you get moved into the home. And it's just no need to ask for that from the seller. That's something super simple that could be taken care of. So that's just my recommendation. Now, you get a home inspection and you want to ask for that drop of paint to be off of the light switch, I'll ask for it. I'm just giving you my recommendation here. So once we've done that, I'll write up an amendment to address concerns, and we'll put everything on there that you want to ask them to fix. And then I will send that over to their agent, and their agent will get with them, and they'll sit down and talk about it and see what they want to do, whether they agree to do all the repairs, whether they agree to some of them and don't want to do some of them. This is another part where you're going to negotiate back and forth until everybody's good with it. And if you're not good with what they want to do, then at that time you can back out, get your earnest money back, and continue looking for a new home. If you can work it out, then great. Everybody will sign the amendment and the transaction will move forward and we'll continue on to the next step. Once we get through all of that, it's really just a matter of waiting for you after that. We've got to get the appraisal done, which the lender will order. They will contact you and ask you to pay for it, and then they will order the appraisal. They have a couple of days to pick that appraisal up, get it done, and then another few days to get it back to the lender. So it'll probably take about a week total for this process to take place. But once it does take place, you'll know for a fact whether or not the home has made value that you're under contract on, or if you're going to need to renegotiate because it came in low. And sometimes on the appraisal, they do require some repairs. So if there are repairs required, then the appraiser will have to come back out, inspect those repairs, and then give the final okay on the appraisal, and then you can close. So keep that in mind. It's not always get the appraisal and you're good to go. So just know there could be some repairs or something that needs to be done, but most of the time it's not anything major. So don't worry about that. Now, after all of that, behind the scenes, the attorney's office is taking care of title work and all kinds of stuff. So as long as there are no clouds on the title, which is any kind of defects or anything that would keep it from being transferable, as long as there's no clouds, we're good. They're good. They can write the title insurance policy. And another thing, please, I see people go without this title insurance for whatever reason. People, you need title insurance. Can I say that again? You need title insurance. It's just going to save you. I mean, why wouldn't you get it? It's only a couple $100, and it's going to keep old Johnny down the street from coming and saying, hey, this is my land. What are you doing here? You know, like, why even risk that? Just get the title insurance and move on. $350 or whatever it is well worth you not having to fight for your property later down the road because you wanted to do without it. Just my opinion. All right, I'll leave it at that. So once we've done all that, you've got the home inspection, they've done the repairs, the appraisal's been done, you and I are going to go and do a final walkthrough. This is where we're going to walk through the home, check all the repairs that were done from the home inspection, and the appraisal too. If there were repairs, we could go ahead and check those. But at this point, I would think the appraiser had already been back out and checked those repairs and gave us the okay. So we're just going to walk through the home, make sure everything is like it was when we saw it the first time, when you put in an offer. And then if you're good with it, we're going to walk out, close the door up, and we're going to wait for closing. So that's about it as far as the home is concerned and what we have to do with that. Now, after the final walkthrough and all that is done, we're going to be ready for closing. So this is when you're going to need to get ready to wire your money for closing. You should get a settlement disclosure, which is going to tell you how much you need at the closing table, and that will be the number that you will wire to the attorney's office. Now, once you've wired that money, we just wait for closing day, and then we will meet at the scheduled day and time at the attorney's office for you to sign paperwork. Now, you will need to bring a picture driver's license with you. That is all you should need, at least here in Georgia. That's all you need. And then you'll sign the paperwork. We'll get the keys and all that squared away, garage door openers, whatever you need to move into the property. You'll get all of that at closing, and then that's it. You're going to move in. You're going to love your new home. You're going to make memories. Hey, and you're going to make a home maintenance schedule. Yes, please. Make that home maintenance schedule and protect your investment. Why spend all this money on something that you're not going to take care of? All right, so check out my other video on the home maintenance and go ahead and get you a schedule made so you can take care of your investment and that house will last you as long as possible. So guys, that's it. Like I said, this is the basics of what you should know about the process of buying a home in Georgia. And trust me, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, but like I said, if you trust us here at Living in Middle Georgia, we're going to take care of all that stuff for you and let you just sit back, enjoy the ride, and have a smooth transaction. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Due diligence. Man, that word gets me sometimes.